All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about something that happens in literally 1 second, but could send human history back to the Dark Ages. Forget zombies, forget asteroids. We're going to break down what happens in the moments, the hours, and the days right after an electromagnetic pulse hits, all based on some incredible analysis from Sketchopolis. And that's maybe the most chilling part, isn't it? There's no giant explosion, no mushroom cloud on the horizon. It's just an instantaneous, deafening silence. Our entire technological world just switches off. So, to really wrap our heads around the fallout, we first have to understand the weapon itself. I mean, what is this silent apocalypse? What's so wild and honestly terrifying is the target. See, an EMP doesn't knock down buildings. No, it goes straight for the jugular of our entire society: electricity. And more specifically, all the tiny silicon guts inside everything we depend on. We're talking millions of invisible volts that just cook circuits from the inside out. I mean, that image right there, it just captures the absolute finality of it. This isn't your average power outage. It is a violent, fundamental disconnection from the very system that runs our world. Everything just fried. And this right here gets to the absolute core of the threat. You've got to understand the difference between a simple blackout and a total reset. In a blackout, hey, the infrastructure is still there, right? It's just waiting to be turned back on. But after an EMP, that infrastructure has been burned to a crisp. You can't just reboot the system, you'd have to rebuild it, and that could take months or more likely, years. So what does that actually mean for you? Well, your phone is now a paperweight. Your car, that's just a very expensive lawn ornament now. Your fridge has become a steel coffin for all your leftovers. And it gets worse. Critical systems, like hospitals, the entire power grid, even the satellites we use for GPS and communication, they're all gone in the exact same instant. So let's see how this all, well, not builds, but how it all breaks down. Because once the technology's gone, a new clock starts ticking on society itself. This timeline is just absolutely brutal. 1 second in, total silence. A mere 4 hours later, your fridge starts to warm up. In just 2 days, all that food is basically gone. And by day 5, the taps run dry. Why? Because the electric pumps that supply our cities with clean water have all failed. Every modern convenience we take for granted just vanishes with terrifying speed. And this is the inevitable result, isn't it? A whole new food chain. When the systems that give us food, water, and order just disappear, desperation takes the wheel, and society can start to devour itself way faster than the technology even unraveled. Okay, so that's the problem. It is bleak. But knowing the threat is one thing. Let's shift from the catastrophe to the response. What can you actually do in those first critical hours and days? These are your absolute first moves, non-negotiable. Water is life, and the public supply is going to fail. You have a very, very short window before the water pressure is just gone. Fill the bathtub, fill buckets, fill every single thing that can hold water. At the same time, you need to find every flashlight and candle you own, because when that sun goes down, it is going to be darker than you can possibly imagine. Now, as we move into the first few days, your priorities have to shift. You gotta eat what will spoil first. So yeah, that ice cream is now breakfast. Figure out how you're gonna make water safe to drink. But most importantly, your mindset has to change. You have to secure what you have, because desperation is going to make people very dangerous very fast. And you need to start thinking about an exit strategy, because dense urban centers, they're going to become traps. This quote from the source just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? The social contract we all live by dissolves so fast. The person you waved to yesterday might see you as nothing more than a competitor for survival tomorrow. Security suddenly becomes your number one priority. So, let's wrap this up by putting the threat into perspective. Because this isn't some far-fetched movie plot. This is a very real-world vulnerability. And let's be perfectly clear about this. The technology to cause this exact scenario already exists. This isn't theoretical stuff. It's a documented, understood form of modern warfare. And that is what makes it so mind-bendingly terrifying. The scale is almost impossible to comprehend. A single nuclear weapon, detonated at just the right altitude up in the atmosphere, could create an EMP field large enough to knock out the power grid of North America or Europe or any other entire continent. One weapon. So we're left with this final chilling question. We've built this magnificent, incredible, interconnected world that is entirely dependent on something we can't even see. But that very dependency is also our greatest weakness, an invisible monster humming just out of sight. What happens when it finally decides to make a sound?